In the year of our Lord, 1263, when kingdoms rose and fell on whispers, and vows were carved into stone and soul, there lived a knight named Alaric. He served under the banner of Lord Farron, guardian of a distant northern keep. But it was not the lord who ruled Alaric's heart. It was the lady of the house, Lady Evelyn. She was the daughter of his liege, kind, learned, and radiant like the morning sun upon the frost-covered earth. She once smiled at him, just once, when he returned wounded from a border skirmish. That single moment became his whole world. But Alaric was no nobleman. He bore no title, held no land. His armor shined only from the polish of his own hands. To her, he was a protector. To him, she was a dream never dared. Still, he stayed, not to win her hand, but to keep her safe. Each evening, in his humble chamber, he penned letters to Evelyn, words he could never speak aloud. He told her of the dangers he faced, of the poems he heard sung in villages that reminded him of her voice, and of how he would rather bleed than let harm come to her. He sealed each letter, then burned it. When war came, he was the first to ride, not for glory, but because Evelyn's safety lay behind the walls, he defended. He lost comrades, broke bones, and still he fought, because when a man cannot win the heart he loves, he gives it silently, without expectation. Years passed. Evelyn was promised to a southern lord, an alliance of power, not passion. Alaric stood guard at the wedding feast. He never wept, but in that moment his silence was louder than war drums. Later that night, he knelt in the old chapel and whispered a vow, to protect her happiness, even if it destroys my own. That was love. Not the kind sung by troubadours, but the kind carved in silence, in sacrifice, in scars unseen. In time, Evelyn became a mother. She ruled her estate with grace, and Alaric remained, a shadow at her gate. He never left, never confessed, never loved another. Because for some, love is not possession, it is protection, from afar. When he passed, no noble eulogies were sung. But Evelyn found one final letter, left beneath the roots of the tree where they once met eyes. It read, "To love you quietly was the greatest honor of my life, and I would do it again. In every life after this one. Some love stories are never spoken, but they echo forever." The seasons changed, yet his feelings did not. In winter, he rode across frost-covered hills just to leave a garland of holly at her gate. In spring, he whispered her name into the blooming fields. The villagers called him foolish. They mocked his silence, his longing. But he did not care. He had once rescued her brother in battle and asked for nothing in return. He stitched her banner by candlelight before every joust, hoping she might notice the steady hands behind her colors. Still, she looked elsewhere, for laughter, for status, for a marriage that would align her house with wealth. And yet, he remained. One day, during a plague, he brought medicine to her sick household, risking his life. He buried her father when no priest dared approach. Still, no word of love came from her lips. She thanked him with the same distant grace she offered to the lowliest stable boy. Years passed. She eventually wed a nobleman. He stood among the crowd as bells rang, heart cracked but smile forced. And when her husband died in battle years later, it was this knight, now gray, now tired, who stood quietly at her side, ensuring her estate, her safety, her peace. She never knew how much she owed him. In the twilight of his life, the knight no longer rode into battle or stood guard by gates. He spent his days beneath the same old oak tree where he once watched her from afar, now alone, now at peace. His armor, rusted and tucked away. His sword, offered to a local boy with better years ahead. And then, one autumn day, she came to him, not with love, not with apology, but with a letter written for her children, asking that they remember the man who had protected their mother, not for duty, but out of something deeper. She didn't say the word, but her eyes, old now, heavy with memory, did. He smiled, not bitterly, but softly. Not all love is returned, but all true love leaves something behind. When he passed, they buried him on the hill where he first saw her. No grand tomb, no statue, only a carved stone with a simple line. He loved without need.